Hope everyone's enjoying their Saturday. Just wanted to do this quick webcast on the housing market. A couple people have been asking me if it's a good time to buy. They have their family members asking. I have some people that sold, which I believe they did it at a good time. I have some people just asking me about buying in the future, and I figured this might help you out with saving some cash and overall saving you some time. To me, that's one of the most important things. I will stress that in a lot of like webcasts that I do. So hopefully it helps you out. All right, now let's check out the housing market and how it works, at least some of it. Now, before we get into it, I just want to let you guys know that this is used for educational purposes. You're free to do with whatever you want with your money, whether you take my advice, uh, financiers' advice, real estate agents' advice. You can do whatever you want. All I'm trying to show you is the information, and if you believe in the information, go with it. Um, the market has indicators, or you can call them signs of when it's going to go up, when it's going to go down. Some knowing something like that would help you save a lot of money and a lot of time. So let's get started. Some of the crash factors from 2008 were excessive high home prices, through the price bubble, fast rising interest rate mortgage rates, slowing economy, sudden rises in unemployment, wage growth not keeping up with home prices, a stock market bubble and volatility, high level of consumer debt affecting debt servicing, cost of living rising. In California, that's crazy expensive, and we'll get more into that. Risky low rate mortgages for new home buyers, high oil and gas and energy prices. So I'm gonna take you through a couple of the tabs that I've already researched so you guys can see. I'm not a big fan of just like telling you how things are. I'm not the news. I'm not gonna try and bullshit you. So I would like when people can see the facts, can see the articles. And then from that, I hope you guys do your own research, because no one's gonna take care of you or your family better than you. No one's going to take care of your finances. No one's going to take care of your health. So you better do your own research. And I highly recommend you get used to reading if you don't already. It's a big, big difference from, standard media that you see. Trust me. So let's get into it. So this is an article from, let's see, Forbes, some red flag indicators from the real estate market crash. Um, this article's July 28th, 2018. So about a month and a few days ago. Um, I just want to show you this quick little chart. Uh, it looks like about every 18 years there's an interval of crashes. Except over here there was about 50 years, which is really great. I hope we have another one of those. Um, but as time passed, around the 2000s, we had an issue with deregulation for banks, which allowed them to gamble with your money on the stock market. And as you know, things didn't turn out as well for us. But if you check on the banks, they did pretty well. Okay, so let's go to the next tab. Let's just go. So for the recession of 2007 through 2009, it actually lasted for homes. It looks like it lasted about till 2013-ish. And I'll show you guys some of the charts for that. So let's check unemployment. Like we said, that's one of the reasons, right? Unemployment. So unemployment was super high in 2008. You see that crash? I guess there was another one around the 1982 or so. But once we hit that 10% mark, it usually doesn't look like it ends well. So this goes till 2011. The demographics. So if you fall into the Black or African American, it probably hit you the hardest. Hispanic or Latino, second, white, third, or they were the best off, even though they did cut back. You have right here some unemployment by sex or genders, uh, and unemployment by state. We'll stop at this one for now. If you want to look this up, this is on bls.gov, and just Google for, I'm sorry, not Google, but look at the statistics. There should be a tab for it, and just click it and it'll open up in PDF format. So California was one of the highest that had to make those cuts. Nevada, and we have Nebraska and so forth. You can check the chart here. So why is this important? This is important so you can see a trend. There's certain things, certain events that happen before there's a crash, there's a decline. And this is one of the few things that happens. And I'll show you how I can tell. So this is Fred, Federal Reserve economic data. These are the time frames of the housing prices from what does it say here? 1975 to 2018. Now let's check at the last one, which was 2008ish. Okay, so we'll see this. Notice how you see this bump? That generally means a quick incline and or decline. So it looks like a little mountain. If you see that being formed, that means it was probably a recession or it was a big hit. It was a big change pretty much. So around Q1 2007, that's when the market was at its highest. And right now we're talking about US home prices overall. And then from there it dropped to about 2012, 2013ish, and then it just rose up. Now the problem is not the rising, the problem is how fast it rose. Now let's look at California. This was just overall USA. In California, the price increase was about 80% from its low. 80%. And that caused a lot of issues, or it may cause a lot of issues. The drop obviously caused a lot of issues. This is super, super, super high. Now, right now we have interest rates rising and houses that are pretty high. So if you gotta pay more in the home you're purchasing and you're paying more on interest, and we have our finances being adjusted with inflation. For those of you who don't know, inflation is there's times when more money needs to be printed, and or according to them, and by them I mean the government and central banking. And what that causes, it devalues your dollar. So right now that they're doing these mortgage rate increases, it generally tends to hit you um, more than just with the increase itself, because since our government owes a decent amount of money, let's actually check that. There's actually a debt calculator if you want to check that out. US debt clock. So if you go to usdebtclock.org, it pretty much gives you all the info regarding debt in real time. I guess you can download it on the Apple iPhone. But you can see US spending, the national debt, which I don't believe is going to get paid back. So they create more money generally, and it lowers what you can buy with your dollar or with your 20 or with your bill, whatever you want to buy or spend. So a house that was worth X amount in 2000, and then you move to 2008 is actually worth more, or 2007 is worth more in money, yet it's the same house. It's because of inflation, or one of the factors is inflation. So let's go to the next thing. If you want to check out student loan, that's rising. If you want to check interest, that's rising. If you want to check people, U.S. population, that's rising. U.S. taxpayers, there's a lot of different things you can check out here. So remember usdebtclock.org. All right, so let's go to these 30-year fixed mortgage rates. So as you can tell, they dropped till about 2012, 2013. That was probably a great time to buy when they were at the mortgage rates were low, and so were housing prices. So as we can tell, around 2011, 2012, around here is when they started to pick up. So if you got a low home price and a low mortgage rate, that would be great if you want to finance. I'm not a big fan of financing, and if you can buy a house with cash, buy it with cash. But not many people can. So let's go to California. So right now, let me check the article date, June 20th. It the U.S. Dropped home mortgage rates. I'm sorry, not the home mortgage, just their overall pricing about 11%. Let's say about 10% to keep it even in June. But they're still about between $500,000 and $600,000 in California. So let's say you buy a house now for, let's say, $500,000. So you buy a house for $500,000, and then within the next couple of years, the price drops. When that price drops, it drops. Let's say 20%. Just to say 20%. So it drops 20%. That house is now valued at what? It drops 120,000? No, 100,000. So it drops $100,000. So the house that you paid for that was 500,000 is now worth 400,000. Maybe that's the house you want and you don't mind paying that extra 100,000. And maybe you could have waited and saved $100,000 on a house for, just wait a few more years. The reason I say this is important is because of time. Because when you pay those extra 100,000, you're also paying interest on those 100,000. So it's not really 100,000, you're actually paying more. Now, most of the people that I know and most of the people in the US do not have six-figure incomes. So how long will it take you to pay that 100,000 plus interest? Maybe you could do it in 3 years, maybe in 5. I don't know. But if you can save 3 years, if you can save 5 years, why wouldn't you wait a little bit more? And I'm just saying this because I don't want people to have things that they've wanted to do in life and they can't do it because of debt, because they weren't educated, because they didn't know how the market works. If I'm an expert, hell no, I'm not an expert. If I know some stuff, I know some stuff. If I'm waiting to buy a house, then yeah, I am waiting to buy a house, and I don't see it right now. So, um, take whatever I tell you. If it helps, it helps. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You're in charge of your own finances. You're in charge of yourself. So let's do a quick read. For the first time in history, California median home price hit 600,000, according to the California Association of Realtors. The record was based on home sales in May and was up 2.8% from April, 9.2% from May 2017. That's huge. That's a big increase. So let's go to the next one. International activity and residential real estate market decline. This is important because people who find good deals internationally to buy homes generally spend money, not generally, but a large amount in cash because it is a really good deal. When you see investors from overseas, or maybe you don't see them, but when you can check the data from investors of overseas and see that they're spending money on real estate, that's probably a good time to buy, or at least not a bad time. And the reason I say this is because if they're paying cash, they probably know that those prices are cheap. Now, when we have a decline, rising home prices and low inventory led to decline in foreign home purchases in the United States, then generally what happens is they're not as inclined because the pricing seems high for them. Now, if it seems high for them, what does it seem like to you if they can afford a house, whether it's financed or it's paid for in cash? Now, 5 countries accounted for nearly half, 49% of the dollar volume on purchases by foreign buyers. China, Canada, India, Mexico, and the United Kingdom. For these 6 consecutive years, China exceeded all other countries in dollar volume of purchases, buying an estimated 30.4 billion worth of residential property, a decrease of 4% from last year's buyer. Then came Canada, 10.5 billion, and there was a decline in 2017, so forth. So international buyers purchasing fewer, less expensive properties. I think they're going to Australia now. I gotta check on that if I forgot, but it looks like they're buying a lot in Australia. Let's go to the next slide. I'm just showing you snips and pieces, and then you can put it together and do your own research. I'm trying to keep it as slow as I can, but I'm trying to um, give you as much information as I can. I know it's a lot of information. So, international buyers are dropping out of U.S. housing market. So between March 2018 and April 2017, it dropped 21%. Same thing. Sales in Canada buyers fell by 45%. That means our neighbors, just half of them were like, no, I'm good. I don't want to deal with this pricing bubble. I don't know if it's a bubble or not yet, but to me, it looks like a bubble. Let's go to the next one. Um, home affordability reaches 10-year low. This is important, one, because people can't afford houses, and housing prices going up. Interest is going up. So these are some of the indicators that you generally look at after a market crash. But the good news is unemployment isn't too bad right now. I believe it was around like 5% or so. So we'll see. I would say keep an eye out for that. Let's see. Approximately 14% of listings in June had undergone a price cut, 11.7% at the end of 2016. Home price is slowing nearly half of the 35 U.S. metropolitan markets. In San Diego, 20% of all listings had a price cut in June, up from 12% a year ago. All right, for this one, I believe they have some charts. Pretty much it's telling you the same thing, between 500,000, 600,000 medium data. And this is the price of home growth sales. You can see it slowing down. Now, you have to ask yourself, why is it slowing down? And we've seen a couple of the variables. So as prices go up and demand generally goes up as well. I'm sorry, as prices go up, demand generally goes down. So as you can see, I'm slowing down here, and inventory goes up, which means there's more homes because people don't want to buy them. One of the reasons, international investors. Home sales crash, warning sign of the nation. It didn't really crash. It just dropped 11%. I mean, yeah, it's a big percentage. Like I said, like if you're paying, how much were they? Median price about 600,000. You you save 10,000 now compared to the previous months, 2 months now. That's $60,000 difference. You could have bought a car, you could have got a kid through college, you could have done a lot of stuff. So trouble ahead for the U.S. housing market. Sorry. Here we'll just do the summary. The median family cannot afford the median home in several expensive coastal markets like San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Seattle. For every 1% that mortgage rates rise, housing prices will fall roughly 7% from baseline. Investors should consider the risk to housing-dependent stocks if interest rises. So this is the housing prices from 2012 to 2017. Look how much they've gone up. In California, it's gone up 57%. All these blue ones are over 40. The lighter blue ones are between 20 and 39, and the lightest blue ones are under 19%. This one, inflation adjusted home price appreciation. So from 1998 to 2006, the prices went up 80%, over 80%. California, Nevada, Arizona, Florida. What else they have here? They have Rhode Island. You know, they have a couple over here. Um, that's a big difference. 80%. So while the meltdown on the scale of 2007 to 2009 is unlikely, it is abundantly clear that the median family cannot afford the median home unless a correction happens sooner or later, like the San Francisco Bay Area, for example. This is the price explosion. So around 2008, over here, boom, crash. It's trying to go up, trying to go up, trying to go up until boom, 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 boom. So it's a big increase. It's a big increase. These are the mortgage rates that we saw. Boom, they just kept dropping. Then they started going back up. They started climbing back up. So once they hit around, I believe it was 6.5%, that's when we had the worst of it. Cost of living in California. California is a state of extremes. It's home to some of America's richest and poorest countries. That means there's no single cost of living in California. Still, there are some things that apply to locations across the state, like the high income tax. So let's just kind of go through this. For most people, the biggest item in their budget is housing. Needless to say, there's a huge range of housing costs in California, from ultra expensive San Francisco to rural towns that have fallen on hard times. According to Zillow, two-bedroom homes in Lake County, California, the state's poorest county, have a median sale price of $158,000. In wealthy Santa Clarita, a two-bedroom home has a median sale price of $641,000. And if you go to Orange County, Torrance, Irvine, there are way more. Still on the fence about whether to rent or buy, you would probably want to know the rental market. Let me just kind of breeze through this. There's some prices. Utilities, food, transport. So as we have inflation, your dollar is worth less, and the housing costs more. And let's actually go to something real quick. This is the one I use to check trends and stocks and crypto. Let's just chart. It's probably gonna open up to my crypto. Okay, it's on my crypto. Let's change this to, let's open up a new one. Let's open it up to gold for now. And then we'll check the stock market. So this is gold throughout the years from about August 1st, 1997, all the way to now. Now its highest point was around August 11th, 2011. And from there, it's been going down slowly. If it'll come back up, I don't know. But there's been a rise in other forms of currency across the world. And if you guys want to know about that, let me know. But what we want to check is, actually, I might have a chart for that also already. The Dow Jones, which you could say is a basic average of the stock market. So let me show you something real quick. This was the 2008 crash stock market. It was at about 13,000, let's say 14,000. These are in trillion, I believe. But anyway, we're going to go percentage wise, so that doesn't really matter. So from 14 all the way down to 7, that means it was cut in half. It lost 50%. Before it lost that 50%, it had gone up 7,000. Oh, same thing pretty much. So it went up, 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 up. So it doubled, and then it went back down. Now, this is where we're at. From 7,000, it is about 26,000. That is about 3 times as much. A little bit over 3 times, actually. 7 times 3 is 21, and we're at 26. So it's a 3x increase. Now, as you can tell over here, it shows that the market wants to go down. Luckily, or for whatever reason, it's been going up. But there needs to be a correction, or the crash is going to come harder. Now, let's check the Great Depression, something you finally learned about after history class. So the difference in change was about, let's see, 25, 26, 10, 20, about 20%, 20, 25%, I would say, of difference in change. So as we move through time, these crashes look like they become bigger. And I don't know how big this one is going to be if it occurs. I believe it's going to occur, but everyone is entitled to their own opinion. So to make things easier for you guys, in case you still want to buy a house, or maybe you just want to see how much a house would cost if you were to purchase it, you can just type in online mortgage calculator, type in the mortgage amount, the interest rate, which you can Google average interest rate, 4.66. So I just plugged that in here, 4.65. We can do 66. Say for a 30-year mortgage, that's about $2,500 monthly. If you want to get into that, you can get into that. I put 500,000. That's where California houses are about right now. If you want to switch it to maybe 40 years, 2,300. Just remember the total cost. So rather than paying 500,000, your total cost is actually 1,103,000. This is what I'm talking about when I was talking about the interest and time. How much is it gonna take you to pay that extra 500,000 or 600,000 actually? It's the difference. So if you can wait for the perfect opportunity, I would say wait for maybe not perfect, but better opportunity or the best you can get at the time, go for it. Like I said before, most people are very, very impulse. So when they want to buy something, they don't ask when is the best time to buy, especially for homes. When is the best time to buy a home? Everyone just wants to buy and they're like, let's go check out the houses. But if you can save some time by using a few minutes of your time to do some research, and the time you save is 10 years, or you can think about it as money, then I mean, I say go for it. But that's up to you. Home sales, they drop, yeah. And then we have the inflation calculator. This I want to show you so you guys understand a little bit more about what happens over time. So I was born in 1988. And let's say I had 20 bucks in 1988. In 2018, I'm sorry, I bought something for 20 bucks. In 2018, that same item would cost me $509. That increase is 2,445,000. So, why is this important? You can look at Venezuela. You can look at, was it El Salvador? You can look at Argentina. And their inflation rate is so high that their toilet paper is worth more than their currency. For Venezuela. The other ones, I'm not sure if they're that high yet. And this is why they've been getting into digital assets, because there's a finite, which means there's a set amount of money or data or currency that cannot be reproduced. So when the government prints out more money, it drops the value of it and you pay more. Now, if you were born in the 1960s, let's calculate that. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. 1960s. That was my bad. 1960s, 170 bucks. 751%. If you were born in the 1988, the increase is 4260. I'm sorry about that. I guess I had it on 1913 and I didn't calculate. So anyway, there's an increase overall. Wow, that's crazy. So from 1913, it's $509 difference for an item that you paid 20 bucks for. Yet Venezuela's inflation rate is more than this. That is crazy. Yet it took us so long to even get to this point. Wow. Okay. Now let's go check some numbers real quick for housing income. Let's see. So here's the median household income. Let's go to 2007, about 58,000 US, 70,000 California. So let's just say 2016. So California is 67,000, total US is 57,000. The houses increased about 80% from a previous drop to now. Yet the income is much, much less. Maybe 12%? About 12%. 3-year change is 7%. Yeah. So the income can't keep up with the housing market. So you should be aware of that before you sign any paperwork and documents. But like I said, it's up to you. Wow. All right. So if you want to learn more about the real estate, I'm not a real estate guy. I've heard this guy and listened to him, and he's seen the decline in home sales. He's an actual real estate. I recommend him. Check him out. He explains some of the stuff that I did. He'll guide you through some of the charts. He'll show you how to use the mortgage rate calculator to get payments and how to get payment prices and stuff like that. So he's a good one. So like I said, before you get into anything crazy or before you become a impulse buyer, I recommend you do your research. People are going to tell you whatever they're going to tell you. So do what's in your best interest, and no one's going to know that better than you. This is Fernando, Ripples of Knowledge. Hopefully you found this helpful. Deuces. Hopefully you enjoyed the content, learned some few things. Don't forget to add Ripples of Knowledge for future content. And if you have any questions on whether it's crypto or whether it's how the finance market works, stocks, it's all correlated together in some way. You just have to connect the dots. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the weekend. Hopefully it helped you out, help maybe some family member out, and pass on that knowledge that you got.